You've seen it in the movies like 1,000 times, right? Some person is just minding their own business, and then bam, someone rushes up, shoves an envelope in their hands, and says that classic line, "You've been served." It's always so dramatic. But what does that actually mean? What's the real story behind the scene?
Well, that big moment is really just the last step in a super precise legal process. It's way more than just someone telling you to show up in court. This isn't just about a piece of paper. It's about one of the most basic principles of justice.
So, at its heart, a summons is an official command. It's not a suggestion, it's not a polite request. It is a formal legal document from a court that says you have to be there. Think of it as a non-negotiable invitation to the legal system.
Okay, but before a summons can ever be handed to someone, it has to be created. And the law is incredibly specific about how this has to be done, all to make sure it's authentic. There are actually two official ways this can happen.
And right here, you can totally see how the law has caught up with the times. On one side, you've got the classic paper summons. It has to be written out, in duplicate, physically signed, and then stamped with the court's official seal. But on the other side, you've got the modern electronic version. It has to be encrypted and have a digital image of that same seal. Both are considered totally legit.
So, the summons is created and it's official. Now, how does it actually get to the right person? Well, the law really prefers the most direct path possible, which we can think of as the standard delivery.
In a perfect world, this is how it goes down. A police or court officer is given the job, they find the person, hand them one of the copies, and then get them to sign the back of the other copy as proof they got it. It's simple, it's direct, and there's really no arguing with it.
And just like how it can be created digitally, it can also be delivered digitally. The law makes it clear that a summons can be served through electronic communication. So yeah, that whole "you've been served" moment could absolutely pop up in your email inbox.
But, it's not always about serving just one person. What if you need to serve an entire company or someone in a specific government job? Well, the rules change a bit for these special cases.
Right. You can't just walk up and hand a summons to an office building. So the law had to figure out who officially speaks for an entire company when it comes to the legal system.
The solution is actually pretty practical. You serve the key people in charge. For a corporation, that means a director, a manager, or a secretary. If it's a partnership, you can serve any of the partners. And if you can't deliver it in person, sending it by registered mail to one of those officers counts too.
And the process gets even more specialized. Let's say you need to serve a government employee. You don't serve them directly. The summons gets sent to the head of their office, who then makes sure they get it. And what if the person is in a whole other city? The summons is sent to a local magistrate there, and they take care of getting it served. It's all about using the proper channels.
Now, of course, things don't always go that smoothly. People can be hard to find, right? So the law has a whole backup plan, a clear set of steps for when the standard methods just don't work.
And this is the big question, isn't it? What happens if the officer shows up, ready to serve the papers, but the person is just not there? This is where the rules for what's called substituted service come into play. So Plan B is to leave the summons with another adult who lives in the same house. Now, the law is really clear. It has to be an adult family member who actually lives there. This is to make sure the document is left with someone responsible who is likely to pass it on. And the law gets even more specific. It literally says that a servant is not considered a member of the family for this purpose. It seems like a tiny detail, but it's important. It stops the summons from being left with someone who might not have that close personal connection to make sure the person actually gets it.
Okay, so what's the next level of difficulty? The officer has tried to find the person, they've tried to find an adult family member, but the house is totally empty. What now?
Well, there's one last option. If the officer has tried everything they reasonably can, what the law calls due diligence, they can physically stick a copy of the summons to a really obvious part of the house, like the front door. After that, the court can decide that, yep, the summons has officially been served. It's the absolute last resort to keep the wheels of justice turning.
So, you'd think that getting the summons delivered is the end of the story. But not quite. The court also needs solid, undeniable proof that it was actually done and done by the book.
Every single delivery method has its own way of being proven. If it's served in person, you need that signed receipt or a sworn statement from the officer. If it's sent by registered mail, you need the official stamp from the Postal Service. And for an electronic serve, you need a verified digital copy that shows proof of delivery. Every loose end has to be tied up.
Okay, I know, we've just walked through a really detailed, almost nitpicky process, but trust me, these rules aren't just there to be complicated. They're the foundation of a much bigger, much more important idea in our legal system.
And here it is. This is the whole reason for all of this. Every single one of these steps exists to protect the idea of due process. The system goes to all this trouble to make sure a person is properly told about a legal case involving them. I mean, think about it. You can't have a fair trial if people don't even know they're supposed to be there to defend themselves.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Yeah, this whole process is complicated. It's got duplicates and seals and backup plans for its backup plans. But when the goal is to protect something as fundamental as a person's right to be heard in court, you really have to wonder, could a simpler system ever truly be as fair?